I'm going to gain a little bit more momentum than normal. I'm going to load up the throttle, and then I'm going to do it again. We want to take this line here up, and then again. So today we're out in the Thai sun, and we're going to talk about steep rocky incline. We're going to start off on a really sort of low, easy, loose one, and then we're going to go on to this one here, which is quite technical, and then we've got an even more technical one. It's similar to this, and it's a lot longer. There's 4 key points that we need to use for when we're tackling this kind of stuff. This works for pretty much most obstacles when you're off-road. We just need to focus on body position, momentum, clutch control, and pick the right line. These are the 4 essential steps to be able to tackle most obstacles off-road. We're going to start on the easy one, and then we'll work up to this one, and then we'll work up to the harder one after. So as you can see here, we've got a sort of a slight, not too aggressive incline, but it's very, very rocky. These rocks will make the traction very hard to be able to not spin the wheel. So basically what we want to do is we want to carry momentum up these. Being able to do the correct techniques for this terrain is very, very important, because these kind of stuff is very unavoidable when we're off-road. So we want to cover the basics today and just get you more confident, so when you come across these, you know the 4 key points that you need to do to be able to tackle these. So the first thing is we want our body position to be in the correct position. We want to have our weight going down through the front forks, and we don't want to be too far behind the front forks, and we don't want to be too far forward, because the back end of the bike, when we hit the rocks, will be all over the place, and it won't give us that stability that we need on sort of really loose terrain when we're going up a hill. So I have my body position over the front forks, and it's just allowing me to have that suspension work correctly. Thinking about the 4 main points, I want to have my body position in the correct, so we can manage the bumps. Then I want to build some momentum. So I'm starting further back from the hill. When I get to the bottom of the hill, I want to reduce my clutch to about 75%, so we can slip the clutch up, keep the throttle steady. If I need more power, I am going to let more clutch out. And if I need to reduce the power because I lose traction, I'm going to pull the clutch in a little bit. I'm going to modulate the clutch to sort of gain the power. And I've already picked my line where I want to go, which is where I see it's like the less rocks and most smooth for me to make it without sort of getting the bike unsettled. So I've got my body position in the correct position. I gain some momentum, and then I slip like that, and just modulating the clutch as I go up. A lot of the times when we're coming up to something like this, we will stop before. We want to avoid stopping at the base of the hill and then going, oh, okay, that looks easy enough, I'll just drive up. But the problem is coming from here, I'm going to lose traction because I'm not going to have the momentum. The momentum is one of the most important parts. Without that, I'm just going to spin because I'm trying to gain speed whilst on the hill on loose rocks. It's always best to go back, get a run up, and then we can use the momentum to help us get up. So this one is the same thing. We need to pick our line. So you can almost see a line where actually people are coming up. So that's a good sign. So that's kind of where we want to follow. But it also goes at the top. It also turns into the same. It gets 2 different lines you can take. We want to take this line here because there's a nice bit for our wheel to flow up. If we hit this bit, it's going to kill our momentum. Because this hill is like in 2 sections, we have a uphill here. It goes a little bit flatter here, and then it goes again uphill again. So really the right technique is come up here and we build the momentum and we use our clutch control, and then we kind of give it a bit of a push at the bottom. So we want to raise the revs up a little bit more than we did on the first hill to give us the momentum up. And then when we get to here, we will sort of load up that engine again and give another sort of push of power. What we can add with our body positioning here is when we do our first hill, we have bent knees at the bottom, and when we let the clutch out and raise the throttle, we can push our legs up. That will drive our wheel into the ground and give us that traction on the loose sandy terrain that's at the bottom. So it will just help us get that grip we need to give us that push that we need. Same thing when we get to this section here. We will bring the clutch in a bit more, maybe to 50%, raise the revs, and then let it back out to that 75, 85% again to give us that last push straight up to the last hill. Okay, let's try it in action. I can see my line, so I'm going to go on this sandy patch here. I'm going to go straight up, follow that light section up the first rock, and then I'm going to load up on that little flat section, and I'm going to take that little bit from my front wheel and back wheel to go into nicely and get that push up that last hill. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I get my body position correct. I'm going to gain a little bit more momentum than normal. I'm going to load up the throttle, and then I'm going to do it again. So with that, I actually kept the throttle at a constant pace, just keeping that intensity the same, and that rev rise that you hear is all from the clutch pull and letting it back out again. Okay, this one is a really gnarly one. We've got this rock to go up first, and then we've got a flat section that we're going to come up across here, where we've got another big steep section here, and then it's sort of flat to the top. We're going to need to do the exact same technique on this part and then on this part. We want to treat this as two separate hills. Do this one first, and then build the momentum again here, and do the exact same thing. Build the momentum just before, bring the clutch in, build the engine revs up, and let the bike take us up on the clutch, not the throttle. So again, it's the same technique. We want to build momentum first for the first bit, and then we want to do the exact same thing for the second bit. We want to treat it as two separate hills, but we need to keep our momentum going. We never ever once have our clutch all the way in or all the way out. We're always modulating it in that friction zone. We don't want to kill all our drive. We need to keep the momentum, and we don't want too much power that we spin, and then if we spin, we kill our momentum. Body position, build momentum, raise the revs up, and then again. It's a very hot day today, so I've had to come sit in the shade. After doing that big last one, that's difficult in the heat. But as you can see, it got a little bit sketchy at the top, just where it turns to sand, but we did it okay. The technique, it's the correct technique. If we just rode up on the throttle, we would have just spun that wheel at the top instead of getting up with a little bit of engine momentum. So the key points to take away from this is you've got to have the correct body position over the front wheel, so our suspension is working correctly and the back can do whatever it wants. We need momentum, so we want to build momentum before the hill, and if it's like a sort of a double tier hill, we can build momentum again in the middle. We want clutch control. We want to modulate that clutch. We never want it fully 100% out, and we never want it fully all the way in. We kind of want to be 80%, maybe bring it back to 70, 60, 50% as we just about to go to build the engine revs up, and then we sort of release it again. A good tip to go with that is when you release that clutch again, just straighten your legs out at the exact same time, and that will push the suspension and back wheel into the ground, and it will just help get that traction before you go. Because if you wheel spin before, you're going to lose your momentum. So if we extend the legs, we push into the ground, and it just helps us gain that traction. Pick your line. This is a big one. If I didn't look at this big hill before I did it, guarantee I would have not made it. Like you had to really pick your line there. There was only one line, and there was sort of lines going all over the place. So you're never going to be able to judge that just from coming straight up to it and hitting it without looking. It always pays, if there's a technical section, stop, check it out, then do it. If you found this video interesting, or you got some good useful information out of it, please hit the like and subscribe, and we'll be bringing lots more videos from basic body positions to more technical sections, so stay tuned.